What is up, y'all? It is your boy Winston Wolf. I'm back. Teddy Hart, Dangerous Breed, episode 1. I didn't watch episode 2 or 3 because some of us have jobs. We can't sit around all day with our thumb up our butts, which does sound like a good time, especially if your thumbnail is manicured properly and you can spin all the way 360 degrees. Sounds like a Friday night. Teddy Hart, episode 1. The things I noticed. Number 1 is how jealous the director was of Teddy Hart. It might not have been obvious to some people, but come on. This dude comes into the Teddy Hart's house. There's 2 chicks in yoga pants busting yoga. There's a bunch of neckbeards running around doing errands for him, taking care of his cats, grabbing him Pepsis and energy drinks. Weed flags all over the place, puffing big blunts. Everything. He's just got the adoration of everybody. He's like a mini cult leader. Of course this beta male is not going to like Teddy Hart. And you could tell just by the narrative slant that was put on to everything. He didn't like seeing Teddy Hart flipping $500 cats around like flapjacks. He didn't like it. All right. He felt some type of way about it. And I took notes because that's a production value. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know we're all about production value. All right. Another thing. This dude brings up the whole ROH incident with Teddy Hart. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just YouTube it. I'm sure it's everywhere. But he talks about how Teddy Hart, after this, couldn't find a job. He was blacklisted. And in the same breath on the screen, you see Teddy Hart walking out from, backstage out to the ring. It looked like AAA or someplace in Mexico because Conan was walking around backstage. So I assume that's where it was. So while you're narrating, you say he was blacklisted and he's not working, but yet you show him working. That's terrible, editing right there. It's just not good. And you got to explain something because you're going to want people who aren't into wrestling, who don't know that Teddy Hart actually did get work. A lot of it was in Mexico, other places, on the indie scene, whatever. So if people who aren't familiar with wrestling, they're going to be like, wait a second, you just said he was blacklisted. You just said he wasn't getting any work, and then you show him getting work. So you got to kind of explain it to that because I assume that Peacock doesn't just want wrestling fans. I mean, even though it's wrestling content, I'm sure they want content that's competent enough to where somebody that doesn't watch wrestling should be able to follow it. And that's just not, you can follow it, but it just doesn't make sense. Let's see. And there's another part where he brings up, and I just assume you've already seen this. All right, I'm not going to sit there and go through the whole thing. I'm not going to say, no, spoilers. I'm going to talk about the stuff in the show. If you haven't seen it and you don't got Peacock, there's plenty of bootleg sites on the internet, just like I watched it. So there you go. Problem solved. You're welcome. All right. But there's a part where Teddy Hart gets into a little trouble, to say the least, and he has to leave his house and all his possessions. But then within a matter of weeks or months, he's already in a nice house. I believe it's in Texas. Hot tub, everything. And they just leave it hanging there. Like, it's like you got to explain that. That's just, I don't know if maybe in episode 2 or 3 they explain it. Maybe they do. But right now, as far as episode 1, I just think it's bad storytelling. You're just leaving too many questions in the air, like I said, with the Ring of Honor thing. And also with the Ring of Honor thing, they sit there and talk about, oh, it was this heinous act. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's just him repeatedly doing backflips off the top of the cage onto the inside and the outside of the ring. Guess what? If the wrestlers hated it that much, why did they keep catching him? Why did they keep breaking his fall? If when the second one came around and they were looking at each other like this wasn't a part of the plan and one of us are going to get hurt, one of us is going to catch a flying knee to the face, guess what you do? When Teddy gets about 5 feet from you, falling to the concrete, you move out of the way. You don't catch him. Teddy Hart will be done doing backflips from that point on. He'll be Dynamite Kid status. His nickname will be Wheels from that point on. You don't have to worry about Teddy Hart on the indie scene or any scene ever again except for maybe the Special Olympics. That's it. So for them to sit there and cry and cause a big deal about it, and I'm talking about the wrestlers, the ROH indie-rific wrestlers at the time in 2003. That's as much fault as his as it is yours. Don't catch him. All right? Or pretend you're going to catch him and lose. Oh, he went through our arms. Oh, no. Poor Teddy. You do something like that. All right? So, another thing about this dude just not being good at his job. That was the next point I had on my nice professional pad of Post-its. Was he's just not good at his job. This dude, you actually see a letter of rejection from some network or something like that, and it says on there, the guy, whoever wrote him back, says, "I'm a huge wrestling fan. This isn't for us." So you mean to tell me that you spent every day with Teddy Hart, every day that you weren't working, morning till night, months, possibly over a year, whatever it was, and you didn't have enough material, enough interesting material to edit together something, to get a show, to get some kind of pilot, picked up about Teddy Hart. Any of us with an iPhone in 15 minutes could record Teddy Hart because he is so crazy, and we could get a pilot made. We could get a show. So you mean to tell me you couldn't do it? You couldn't do it without much time. You're terrible at your job. All right? You suck. So I don't know what kind of sizzle reel he edited for these people, but Jesus Christ, man. You all were almost perfect. You are one of those self-sabotaging people. You're one of those people who just don't want to succeed. And this is one thing. This is another thing. And this, some people take this the wrong way, but frankly, I don't care. I just don't believe the women's story. I just don't believe all of it. I mean, obviously, you're dealing with a psychopath. You're dealing with a lot of crazy stuff. But, the brunette, the more bangable one that was with Teddy out of the two, she says out of her own mouth, "I didn't meet Teddy until the day he came up to me and told me, hey, they're making a TV show about me. Do you want to be a part of it?" So you mean to tell me some guy that you don't know comes up to you and says that to you, and you say, okay, and you just move into the house, you start a 3-way relationship with him, and that's your life, and you're a stable person, and we're supposed to believe everything you say. Okay, and I'm not saying nothing weird went on. I'm not saying nothing wild went on. But, you have a bunch of neckbeards that are living in Teddy Hart's house that he's charging $2,000 a month to train to wrestle. And yes, I did air quotes. Who are you to judge me? You're nobody. I don't even know you. All right? So, but he's charging these neckbeards $2,000 a month to train and live there and to take care of his cats. You can't tell me that if these chicks were being held on some R. Kelly stuff against their will, that they couldn't be like, go get help. Stop it. Stop it. It was all fun and games until it wasn't fun and games. You were having a good time until you weren't having a good time. Stop it. That's how too many guys have been caught up in stuff like that. And I'm not saying you don't look into stuff. Anytime it's elderly, children, women, abuse, things like that, you have to look into it. No matter how crazy, no matter how erratic the people are, you have to look into it. But come on now. Really? That anybody with half a brain would see that doesn't add up. And how many people have half a brain? So it shouldn't be adding up to a lot of people. All you half-brainers out there know what I'm talking about. Stop it. And just something that further adds to the fact that this dude is just putting his own slant on this thing is he was happy when Teddy Hart's getting arrested at the airport. He's like, and I was happy. Dude, you're a clown. You're a scumbag. You've been hanging out with this dude all the time. If he was that terrible, you would have cut it short the first day. You would have been like, nah, this ain't it. This ain't it, Chief. You would have bounced. But yeah, you see this dude get arrested and you're like, I was happy. I was like, why? Why? Because he had all these women and all these people liking him and you never had nothing like that? Stop it. And also, show me some yin and yang to it. You sit there, you got this guy, this Teddy Hart I'm talking about, this magnetic. He has all these people. He has women loving him. He has fans. He has all this stuff. But yeah, you're not showing any of that. Everybody has somebody like this in their life. Some maniac who's just capable of extreme acts of kindness. And that's the sad thing, is that you've seen him do kind things. But yeah, you've seen him do bad things and you know what they're capable of. And it's like, everybody knows somebody like this. But you know that that's how you became friends with them. It wasn't that they were just all bad. You've seen some amazing things. You see the potential in these people. These people take 5 steps forward, 37 steps back. They blow their own feet off with a double-barrel shotgun. They can't help themselves. That's the tragedy in it of all this. But show that with Teddy Hart. Show some good things to him so that people can understand why people are even attracted to him in the first place. Because I'm sure he's not all bad. Stop it. Get out of here. But Teddy Hart, Dangerous Breed, episode 1. I have a dog bone rating if you haven't seen my other videos. 1 to 10 dog bones. I'll give it... Man, if this dude who put all the stuff together didn't hate Teddy Hart so bad, it could have easily been an 8. But right now, as far as episode 1 goes, I give it a 6. 6 dog bones. About to watch episode 2 tonight. Hopefully